great pleasure to introduce to you my advisee, Gracie Harrington, who will deliver today's convocation speech. I woke on the 30th of June to silence and light. My analog clock clicked in time with the sound of my beating heart, and as I lay on my bed, I thought about the cool breeze, the burning sensation of the summer sun on my skin, but mostly I thought about that day. The 30th of June of the year 2010, it's not any day. It was when my journey began. Let's take a step back to the year 2009. I traveled by bus, by airplane, by foot to the Student Diversity Leadership Conference in New Orleans, and I reached my destination. I entered the room titled LGBTQQ, meaning lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, questioning, and queer, for I long to hear the points of view of others. I have more than one friend who is not heterosexual, and for that reason want to support them, regardless of their preferences. The chatter murmured into silence, and a discussion began. A girl with blonde hair towering over her eyes stood to talk, and with fear and anticipation, her mouth opened. My name is Christy. I attend a school in Georgia, she stated pensively. I am a junior and her eyelids closed. And I am gay. The room clapped and support surrounded her, but a frown was still etched across her face. Her lip trembled, and she continued to speak. You don't understand, the girl exclaimed. I have never told anyone before, because no one at my school can ever find out. I would be tormented, beaten up. My life would be an even greater struggle than it already is. For my safety, no one in my school could ever know. Silence hung in the air like a fog. An hour later, the session ended, and while I was walking out the door, I heard a quiet but poignant sound. I closed my eyes and listened. Change this culture in acceptance. People needed to stop feeling ashamed for being different. So I found my calling, to legalize same-sex marriage. I knew that same-sex marriage would not stop the gay hate crimes or spread a culture of equality throughout every Maryland county. But if the government declared that all people can be granted the same rights as long as the couple mutually consents and are legally of age, maybe that could influence some people. According to law, you would all receive equal rights. I began to research. I attended attended a public lecture by Douglas Gansler, the Maryland Attorney General, and asked him a question that had been circling and circling in my thoughts. How could people my age help to legalize same-sex marriage? Mr. Gansler stated that the judicial branch was the key. That was what could cause change. To hear another point of view, I met with Ida Dean, an amazing woman who works closely with Equality Maryland, an organization that shared my goal of legalizing same-sex marriage. Ultimately, the debate of same-sex marriage would go up for referendum, meaning the citizens of Maryland would decide the ratification or refusal of a law that could give rights to so many. The views of the citizens need to change, Ms. Dean explained, or same-sex marriage will never be legalized. To change the views of Marylanders, I needed to understand their views. Why were so many people against same-sex marriage? To answer this question, I went into the field. July 30th, 2010. I left my house and walked to Baynesville, a commercial area near Towson. I outlined my plan and decided that I would enter a store. After stating the confidentiality of my survey, I would ask the cashier, what are your views on same-sex marriage and why? Total interviewees, 40. Percentage against same-sex marriage, 27.5%. Percentage in support of same-sex marriage, 45%. Percentage indifferent, 10%. No comment, 12.5%. Other, 5%. My results were surprising. 45% of people were in support of same-sex marriage. This was more than I expected. Having grown up in the Baynesville area, from a young age, nearly all my friends were Catholic. Every morning at my elementary school, we pledged to one nation under God. For that reason, I assumed the majority of Baynesville inhabitants would disapprove of same-sex marriage. I talked to a wide range of people, from a conservative man in his 60s to a woman who felt uncomfortable answering the question, to one cashier who said same-sex couples should have the right to be as miserable as the rest of us. My preconceived notions were incorrect. July 1st, 2010. Location, the Towson Mawr. Goal, to find the connection between religion and opinions on same-sex marriage. Total interviewees, 34. Percentage against same-sex marriage, 21%. Percentage in support, 68%. Percentage indifferent, 5.5%. No comment, 5.5%. Overall, I did not find a big connection between religion and same-sex marriage in this study. 86% of the people against same-sex marriage were religious. 87% of the people in support of same-sex marriage were religious or somewhat religious. I was intrigued by one person's point of view, however. One woman cited her religious beliefs as a reason for opposing homosexuality, but believed that the government had no right to say who could and could not marry. Throughout my study, I have learned that so many people like her had a story to tell and an opinion to share. July 27, 2010. Location, Frederick, a small town in western Maryland. Total interviewees, 21. Percentage against same-sex marriage, 9%. Percentage in support, 67%. Percentage indifferent, 19%. No comment, 0%. In between, 5%. I was astounded by these results. I thought that a small town in the country would be conservative, but the majority of the people I interviewed believed the most important thing was to be accepted. People would always have different lifestyles. The key is to accept, not to condemn. Last survey, July 28, 2010. Location, Hereford, a county in the country. Total interviewees, 15. Percent against same-sex marriage, 13%. Percentage in support of same-sex marriage, 47%. Percentage indifferent, 13%. No comment, 27%. My interviews in Hereford, an area north of Baltimore in the country, were the most difficult ones yet. I wish I could have talked to more than 15 people to make my percentages more representative of Hereford. But at times, I was frightened, to be quite frank. did not answer my questions in Hereford. 73% did. This means that 73% of the people I talked to made themselves vulnerable in order to express what they believed. And that is incredible. Before I conducted my research, I too lived in a fog. I could not understand why people would disagree with same-sex marriage. But after talking to people of different backgrounds than my own, I now see more clearly. It is true that two people of the same gender cannot reproduce. It is true that the Bible says marriage is between a man and a woman, but it is also true that the Universal Declaration of Human Rights is being violated because countless Americans are lacking the right of marriage. I dedicate this convocation to anyone who lacks a civil right, and to you,